what are some of those wins that you're most proud of that you want to share with us today?
The first couple of months actually were on the red for me. And now that I've taken this approach, last month was 2,500 profit. Now this month, almost 2 weeks in, is already close to 5,000 profit.
You actually hold the record for the fastest person to go live with real money in less than 3 weeks. So give us a little bit of context. Where were you prior to joining the program?
Oh, zero experience. It was a little bit of a leap of faith.
All right. Today I have the pleasure of having the legend himself, Jose Alvarez, in the house. Jose has been one of the star students in the program. Today I wanted to share some of your wins, some of your progress, and learn more a little bit about how you've been able to accomplish this and offer some value to those that may be getting started with trading or that are already trading, but not quite as profitable or consistent as they would like to be. So Jose, why don't you share with us, what are some of those wins that you're most proud of that you want to share with us today?
We'll start with had a little bit of a change in strategy, and really it's something that you've kind of preached in class, and it's to stop over trading. And I kind of started looking back at my trade results. The one thing that I noticed the most is that the day that I had the most trades was directly related to the days that I lost the most. That was definitely something that has changed. And then I'm taking a little bit of a more kind of hard approach to the trades and doing one, maybe two trades a day. Two, maybe. I think really the days that I do 2 or 3 trades is the days that we're in class. But when I'm trading by myself, it's a win or lose trade. And that way I don't feel the need that I have to dig myself out if I lost. Because that's really where I've seen my biggest losses, trying to kind of climb back out. And it actually makes it a lot less emotion driven, right? It's just kind of like, we're doing this once. It focuses on the type of trade that I'm looking for. And also just kind of makes me be way more selective on the trade that I'm going to take. The first couple of months actually were on the red for me for the same reason I was telling you. I was kind of overtrading, overthinking. Then now that I've taken this approach, last month was 2,500 profit. Now this month, almost 2 weeks in, is already close to 5,000 profit. So,
wow, let's go. That's amazing,
yeah,
man.
so
Well, I wanted to highlight a few things there, and I'm sure
mhm.
this is going to help a lot of people. First of all, solid last 2 months. I've been seeing your trades in the community in the live sessions. We all look at Jose's trades like, man, absolutely crushing it. $2,500 a month. This one is a 5K month. Recently, you haven't mentioned this, but he just passed a 50K challenge for funding through a prop firm. So for those that may not know what that is, we're watching this. There's companies out there that provide funding for profitable traders. You do an evaluation, kind of like a test, and you can get access to accounts ranging from 25K to 300K. Well, Mr. Jose here just passed one and is $300 away from passing another 50K account. So that'll be 100K in funding. A few things that I wanted to point out. You mentioned how taking less trades has actually helped you make more money and be more profitable. And I usually get that question a lot. It's like, well, if you're profitable, why don't you trade all day? But I think we've all learned that the one that makes the most trades doesn't necessarily make the most money, right? It's interesting to hear that you've had a shift from going in the red to actually becoming profitable, taking less trades and being more selective. Another thing that I wanted to highlight. So Jose, he came into the program back in April. So give us a little bit of context in that. Where were you prior to joining the program in terms of trading?
Oh, zero experience. I mean, I would say, I have bought like stocks and stuff like that, but not trading in this type of trading. It's just kind of more like 401k type of stuff, maybe handpicking a couple stocks here and there, but nothing that was like an active trading, I would say. So it was zero experience. So it was a little bit of a leap of faith. It's been enjoyable.
I love it. When you came into the program, you had zero experience in trading. Like a lot of people, you have some retirement accounts, some investments long term, but we know that's very different than actually day trading, right? Like being active. I'm curious to hear from the perspective of someone who came into this knowing absolutely nothing. I know the markets can seem a little overwhelming when it comes to day trading. What were you expecting? Was it what you were expecting? Was it different? Was it better?
I think the learning curve wasn't as hard as I thought. I think the program kind of broke it down. It simplified the approach a lot. So I think that was a lot simpler, definitely, than I originally imagined. Really what needed to get adjustment more was my own self-discipline when it came to trading, right? And expectations, I guess, growing my profit. I came in this like, okay, I just I'll make a ton of money. And it's definitely a baby steps kind of approach that you have to take, meaning building your consistency. So that part I think was different than I really anticipated. It's not so much the market itself, but actually the trader itself.
I get a lot of people that are brand new. I know there can be some concerns like, is it going to be like too difficult? It's going to be a bunch of math. That's usually the perception that people have. But you've actually picked it up really fast. You actually hold the record for the fastest person to go live with real money in less than 3 weeks. Like in less than 3 weeks, you went through the course, you went on the simulator, you put real money on the line. Now, it is a process, right? I know our program is 90 days, but my expectation is not that you're going to get rich in 90
Yeah.
days, but we cut the learning curve. And it is a process, right? It's a career like anything else. But from the very beginning, when we saw your trades, it's like, this guy's going to crush it. I do think you've had an ability to be very patient for your trades and be very selective. And it seems like that's something that you've been working on and refining. That's why you've been able to have the success that you've had. What would you say has been the biggest challenge for you with trading?
I think it's exactly what you've mentioned is the patience. Because while I've been patient at times, I think there's been moments that I get overconfident and the market kind of reminds me, no, you're not all that. It's been really reminding myself to be disciplined on the rules that I've set myself for trading. And that has really done like a 180 in my consistency because it's very, very tempting, right? Like even on a day that you've been profitable, say, well, if I did it once, I can do it 3, 4, 5 more times. And that's usually not the case. Or vice versa. If the day that you like from the get-go, you go red, you're like, oh, I'm sure I could just make it back up. Right. And a lot of times it hasn't been the case. Right. So it's all about being consistent on the risk parameters or the loss parameters that I set myself on a daily basis. And really that has made a huge impact on my consistency and my profitability on my trades.
Absolutely. I think that's something that you may take time to understand. But I know we talk about this a lot, especially in the live sessions and everything. I've learned that one of the most important things in trading is learning to walk away, whether you're winning or losing. Either I'm going to remind you of that or the market's going to remind you of that. It happens to everybody. But trading is timing and also like cutting the losses early by walking away on a day that things are not working out or walking away when you're already making money, right? Because things can change. You mentioned that one of the things that has helped you get to this point has been trading less. One, maybe two trades, which, by the way, that requires a lot of discipline, right? Waiting for the right trade and pulling the trigger and walking away, huge. If you can do that, you're going to be good.
And it's not easy for me. I have to like shut down the platform, not even think about it, right? Like kill the temptation of it. Because if you just kind of like, maybe I'll have it there in the background. That's something that actually would happen to me a lot at the beginning. I would just kind of have it in the background. And then I would think I would see a trade coming. I'm like, oh, let me just jump in that one quick. And I would actually miss a lot of context on the trade. I would end up losing and I would get upset about it. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I missed that. Right. So I think for me, it's been, just focus, be really attentive on that session that you're doing. I try to limit it to, an hour a day, that has my attention. And that way I can kind of really be selective on what I'm doing. And then I just shut it down. I walk away. I don't even think about it, win or lose. It actually has helped me a lot.
I love it. I found the same thing to be true with me, and I've learned the lesson. I don't look at the charts if the market is open if I'm done trading, because I'm going to see something and I'm going to pull the trigger and I'm going to break my rule. So would you say you were spending more time on the markets when you first started as opposed to now?
Yeah, I would just kind of leave the platform just in the background on a side screen while I was working. And
I believe you've done another shift. I saw that recently you've been focusing on only one trade. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Like one type of trade?
Yeah, I would say 80 to 90% of my trades are focused on one certain type of trade. And I think it has let me really learn the nuances of that trade and really specialize on it, which I like. And it's just kind of like a trade that has worked for me. Yeah, it took a little bit of learning at the beginning. Sometimes it would hit, sometimes it wouldn't. And I would, kind of really start to study certain things about it. And I think now it's a trade I feel very comfortable with.
What made you want to specialize in that trade?
It's a little bit of a simpler trade, I guess, for me. The more I did it, the more success rates I was having with it.
What I found is interesting, and this is what I tell everyone, I've noticed that most people are going to tend to gravitate towards one of the trades. And usually the numbers, we track everything. Usually, I saw that you updated your trade review, so I was looking at that. Your numbers are usually going to tell you that story. Something is usually working really well, and then that money is being taken away, but everything else that we're doing. And
Yeah,
so
that's 100% my case.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's usually like that. So actually it becomes a process of realizing what is it that you're really good at, what is it that you see well in the markets, because everybody sees something that
Hmm.
makes sense for them, and then getting rid of everything else. Of course, it's a process of letting go of those trades because sometimes it's the FOMO, feeling like we're
Hmm.
missing out on all those trades. But when you look at the numbers, you're actually not making any money with them. It's just that we want to be done quick. We think, man, we could have it done in 10 minutes, but now I have to wait 30. But at the end of the month, there's usually one trade that's bringing all the money. As Pareto principle, right? 80% of all the results are driven by 20% of your efforts. That's usually one of the trades. Awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate you sharing this with us. Let's say that somebody's watching this video in the future. They're thinking about getting involved in trading. Maybe they spoke to me and they're like on the fence. They're just unsure. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they tried trading before, or maybe they don't know anything about trading. And they're like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. What would you say to someone in that position now that you're on the other side?
Oh man, for me, I think the program broke it down in a very palatable manner, right? That like, within the 3 weeks that it took me to get through the course, it kind of started to feel very intuitive and second nature. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the community. I think that's like a hidden bonus of this whole
Mm,
process. You're not just learning from the classes, from the study program, but you're seeing what everybody else is doing, and it actually has really improved my trading being as part of this community, because it like you feed off each other's energy, and you feed off of the mistakes that everybody else is doing. It's not just the class, but to me, like a huge bonus of this is definitely having this large community that is in the same boat, right? Like I would say a lot of people either had a little bit of experience or no experience. Everybody is very encouraging of each other's wins, which to me was something that was completely unexpected. It's not something that I even was aware of when I first signed up on the course. So I think that's something that you can really lean on, not just you as the instructor, but all the other members that have had losses, have had big wins, right? That share their experience and really gives you a good community to lean on.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I agree. I think trading is you're on your own, right? It's not
Hmm.
like a social activity. It's just you and your computer, which is cool. You can do from home. But at the same time, it's very niche, right? How many people do you know in person that trade while we trade? The
Yeah,
S&P 500 futures is very
yeah.
niche, very small amount of people that do this. So having other people around you that you can talk to, you can see what they're doing. Maybe you're having a bad day, a bad week, or a great week, right? And you can learn from each other, share your lessons, because everybody's gonna see things a little bit different, right? And even me, sometimes I look at you guys' trades, I'm like, man, I didn't even see that. And that's awesome. And sometimes I see the trades, I'm like, we take the exact same trades, which
Hmm.
I've been seeing that this past week. And I'm like, man, Jose is on fire. And it's cool to see, like recently in the class, like so many people sharing how they love seeing your trades. And that helps the beginners, right? Who are just coming in, they don't know anything. And then you were riding the same shoes not that long ago,
Hmm.
and now you just got funded, right? So you're like, okay, we can do the same thing. We just have to be disciplined. We have to follow the program. We have to follow strategies and like do the work that you've been doing. Well, man, it's been great having you. I'm sure we're gonna have you again. Know that you're a funded trader and you're gonna have another funded account. I'm sure those pays are coming soon. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me.